responsible for Lyme disease is spirochete or spirochete Borrelia. Borrelia. Right, excuse me, I can't pronounce all these crazy words. Bergdorferi, or BP, the wiggly form of BP. It is a cell wall deficient bacteria which makes it difficult to destroy since most antibiotics function by destroying the cell walls of bacteria. It has been believed that Lyme disease was transferred only from insect bites, mostly ticks. All right, which is when you read, I believe it says that in this article. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but when you check it out, that's how this guy, Traub, Erich Traub, the German scientist, that's how he helped to spread the disease. All right, particularly Lyme disease. He injected in the ticks. All right. Says, and it's funny. I don't think I'll be able to find this, but there's an episode of Seinfeld. All right, where the character Elaine, she had to move. She had a roommate, and she had to move out of her roommate's house for a while because she had got infected with a Lyme disease. And the next, I guess, funny part of the show was Jerry saying, "Well, what did she do? Get bit by a tick?" All right. So they put it everywhere. That was an unexpected place to find it, but I was thinking about that, and it just popped into my head when I was reading this. All right. It says here, but evidence has emerged for many to believe otherwise. Though infected insects may be the point of initial transfer to humans, there may have been babies who were born with Lyme disease because of the mother's infection. A few families have a majority of family members with Lyme disease. Were they all bitten by insects? One researcher has discovered BP in tears, so wiping one's eyes could spread it manually. And BP, coming back up here, where is it? BP is this word I couldn't pronounce, but it's Bergdorferi. All right, which is the cell wall of. It says here it's a cell wall deficient bacteria which makes it difficult to destroy since most antibiotics function by destroying the cell walls of bacteria. Alright, so if I say BP, that's what it's referring to. Because I will not sit here and try to memorize how to pronounce that word right now. It says here, let me make sure this is the right paragraph. Yep. It says here, a few medical research scientists and doctors have discovered BP in virtually all studied victims of Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, fibromyalgia, and others. How many other chronic degenerative diseases, often with neurological symptoms, can be related to this BP pathogen? Remember, Lyme disease mimics many diseases. There are several doctors and researchers who believe that Lyme disease or the BP pathogen has contaminated millions internationally, but most of them have been diagnosed with a standard neurological or degenerative disease. Many methods of BP contamination, in addition to tick bites, have been exposed since the year 2000. So we have a mysterious pathogen that mimics many diseases, making it difficult to diagnose, is difficult to isolate and destroy, is contagious, and incapacitate all those infected. That certainly fits the criteria of an effective bioweapon. Alright? So things like that don't just pop up. Alright? There are certain diseases, alright, that can kill you or put you in a bad state. Alright? But most of them, when you look at this day and age, most of them are man-made. Alright? By the so-called white man. Okay? It says here now, we're getting to the point. It says, Plum Island is where Lab 257 has been located since 1954, ostensibly for animal viral research. That soon morphed into bioweapons research, which was supposedly canceled by Richard Nixon in 1969. But later documents revealed that bioweapons research had continued in secrecy. And we just went into that scripture earlier. Woe to them that seek deep to hide their counsel for the Lord. Alright, to say that their works are in the dark. And who seeth this? so they did it in secret. Plum Island is the open-air laboratory for Fort Detrick, the notorious bioweapons center in Maryland. All right. From New York attorney Michael Carroll's book Lab 257, The Disturbing Story of the Government Secret Plum Island Germ Laboratory. Plum Island presents more vectors for the spread of infectious diseases than perhaps anywhere else. Ticks there have a long, varied menu. Droves of small foraging birds, a tantalizing wild deer habitat, and thousands of mice and rats for the tick larvae and nymphs to feed on. Plum Island is a Lyme disease tinderbox. Lone Star hard ticks. Now, this came up briefly in the last Jeff Rentz article we read. It says here, Lone Star hard ticks, formerly indigenous only to Texas, the Lone Star state, suddenly proliferated in the Long Island, Connecticut area right around the time Lyme disease broke out. No one could explain how they suddenly migrated there. Hard ticks have a bioweapons researchers Hard ticks are bioweapons researchers' ticks of choice for spreading pathogens to wildlife. Despite government denial, there have been some discoveries concerning bioweapons research on mycoplasma, living particles of bacterial nucleic acid without cell walls, pointing to Plum Island's involvement with Lyme disease. Some U.S. government scientists hold a patent, and this is the point right here. Some U.S. government scientists hold a patent to pathogenic mycoplasma fermentins converted into crystalline form. This patent includes the disease on symptoms of Lyme disease that can be carried by insects or birds. Crystalline mycoplasma fermentins contain the BP that causes Lyme disease. So there's the proof right there that these diseases are man-made. Alright? Like I said, there's history to it. We went through some of the history with the Germans, alright, with Heinrich Himmler setting up this guy Erich Traub, who then basically came to the States, alright, and was made head of the program there in Plum Island, which is up there off the coast, on the upper East Coast, off the coast of Long Island. Alright? And since then, you've had plenty outbreaks of certain diseases like Lyme disease, alright, and other diseases. So there's proof that all this stuff is man-made, alright? There's proof that the so-called white man, there's more proof that the so-called white man is the devil, alright? And there's been also all kind of other things that pop up, like for example, you got the so-called
now, it is a
these
fact
crazy-looking,
that none of the animals that
monster,
they use
right,
in their experiments is allowed to leave Plum Island alive.
This crazy-looking animal
couldn't the Montauk
that washed
monster
up on
be
the
some
critter
that they were tinkering with that somehow went into the water and got swept by that outgoing tide? Montauk is south and east of Plum Island, not that far, maybe 10 miles as the crow flies, maybe less even. Why couldn't it be that?
One or two, maybe even three sightings of these crazy-looking creatures that just washed up there in that area. Alright, you even had a sighting down in Panama where people had supposedly killed a crazy-looking creature that came flying up out of the, or not flying, came walking out of the water and they killed it.
A Nazi ran the place? An ex-Nazi?
Yeah,
so
his name was Erich Traub. We can find him in the
so-called white man
the
is
National
also
Archives
good,
and Record Administration, where I found him.
Well, certain
and
events
he ran
like
his
that,
own
if you're on the net a lot, you'll notice
we brought him
that
here
on certain
after World
just
War
random
II,
websites,
and his idea was,
they'll have
let's
like
build a
certain
germ
photos
warfare island,
or pop-ups,
so that we can wage
if you
war
already got a pop-up blocker.
in against farm animals, essentially.
It says, it have some crazy
against the emerging Cold War against Soviet
looking
China,
animal creature,
Soviet Union and Communist
it'll say,
China.
is this real? Alright? Or fake. Real or fake. Some of the stuff is obviously fake, but some of the stuff could be real. Alright? It's the same creatures and same looking creatures that popped up on major news networks. Alright? So, point being of this whole lesson was to basically expose the so-called white man for being the devil that he is, the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right, this is just another piece of the puzzle that proves that the so-called white man is up to no good. All right, he's the devil that the Bible speaks of. He's wicked. He's against life. All right, and ultimately, all this is designed to destroy the tribes of Israel. But like I said, he's going to destroy himself too, along with everybody else. That's why the scripture says that if the days weren't shortened, that there would be no flesh left to be saved. All right. So, with that, that's pretty much the end of the lesson. Like I said, it was mainly just a lot of information. And to the next show, I'll basically say shalom.